Do you know what annoys people who enjoy hurting others the most? It's not when you get angry. It's not when you respond with a sharper remark. And it's certainly not when you spend the night thinking about what you should have said. What they hate most is something so simple it sounds absurd. It's when you remain calm. In fact, many people spend their days trying to manipulate other people's emotions. But the moment they encounter someone who refuses to cooperate, their entire plan crumbles faster than a plastic chair under the weight of their ego. Think about this. If someone is truly happy, truly content with their life, would they spend their time hurting others? Probably not. Someone enjoying life rarely wakes up in the morning thinking, "Today I'm going to make someone feel bad." But people who enjoy mocking, belittling, or provoking others often treat it as a full-time profession. They show up at work. They show up at home. They show up on social media. And sometimes they show up at an astonishing speed, faster than weight loss ads. Interestingly, these people aren't usually looking for the truth. They're looking for a reaction. They don't care if you're right or wrong. They care if you're angry, because your reaction is their reward. Imagine someone throwing a stone into a lake just to watch the ripples spread. If the lake doesn't ripple, their fun is over. That's exactly how many people who enjoy hurting others operate. They throw in a sarcastic remark, an insult, a contemptuous glance. Then they sit and wait for the effect. And this is the sad part. Most of us cooperate with them without realizing it. Just one harsh word can ruin an entire day's mood. Just one negative comment can make us think about it for hours. Just one person disliking us is enough to make us doubt our self-worth. In other words, we hand over the keys to our emotions to others and are surprised when they step in and mess everything up. There's a thought-provoking question. Why do the words of a stranger sometimes have such power? Why can someone who doesn't even know much about your life cause you sleepless nights? The answer lies in ego. No one likes being looked down upon. No one likes being underestimated. But the problem is, we often try to protect our image more than our peace of mind. And that's a very expensive trade-off. Imagine you're driving down the road. A complete stranger honks their horn and yells at you. You have two choices. The first is to lose your temper, chase after them, argue, and turn the trip into a low-budget action movie. The second is to continue driving and go home for dinner on time. Sounds simple, but in life, many people choose the first option emotionally. They spend hours arguing with people who aren't even important in their lives. They win the argument but lose their peace of mind. Those who enjoy hurting others understand something many victims don't. They know emotions are a precious resource. They know that by making you angry, they're taking up space in your mind. And, as long as you're thinking about them, they're winning. That's why some people can ruin your whole day in just 5 minutes, not because they're strong, but because you keep carrying them around in your head longer than necessary. Ironically, those who frequently hurt others are often very sensitive to being ignored. They may appear strong, they may appear indifferent, but when they don't get the reaction they expect, they start to get upset. Notice this. A troublemaker often becomes flustered when the other person just smiles. They're like an actor stepping onto the stage only to find the audience has left. No boos, no applause, nothing. And for them, that's the most terrifying thing. This is also why silence has such power. Not because silence is always right, but because silence forces others to confront themselves. When you don't react, they have nothing left to fight against but their own discomfort. That's the moment the game changes. They expect fire. You bring water. They expect conflict. You bring calm. They expect emotion. You bring emptiness. And in that emptiness, many people begin to feel disoriented. The Stoic philosophers once said that you can't control what others do, but you can always control how you react. Sounds simple. But if you truly understand this, life will change dramatically. Because most suffering doesn't come from other people's words. It stems from the prolonged internal dialogue that follows. The other person insults you for 10 seconds, but you insult yourself for 3 more days by constantly replaying the story. Perhaps that's why the strongest person in the room isn't the one who talks the most, nor is it the one who wins every argument. The strongest person is usually the one who knows what's worth responding to and what isn't. They don't try to prove themselves to everyone. They don't treat every criticism as a life or death battle. They understand that time and peace are too precious assets to waste on people who only want to drag them down. So, the next time someone tries to hurt you, remember this. Maybe they're waiting for you to get angry. Maybe they're waiting for you to argue. Maybe they're waiting for you to lose control. But sometimes, the most disappointing response is for you to continue living happily as if they never existed. And if someone can ruin your mood with just a few words, the real question isn't how strong they are, but why did you give them so much power?